Welcome back. In our ever continuing effort to spotlight, and I meant it that way, spotlight things that are helpful to our kids, we have joining us right now via Skype, Maja Watkins from Zip Zap Zop Enrichment. And that's a mouthful, but a fun mouthful. So Maja, welcome to Autism Live.
Thank you.
Let's talk a little bit about what Zip Zap Zop Enrichment is and where it's located.
Yes, Zip Zap Zop Enrichment is located in the Los Angeles area, and we are an organization that teaches improv in schools, after schools, in workshops, in therapy centers, teaching improv as a tool to communicate. It's not, our mission is not to teach improv as an acting class skill, but instead using improv in creative, innovative ways to reach social goals and behaviors.
Well, and of course, I love this. I love this idea. But Maja, maybe tell us a little bit about how you came to a passion for this. Where did this come from for you?
Yes. So my brother, Zach, has autism, and he is 32. And the way he has, even just in the last few years, started to click and expand his social abilities really has blown me away. So growing up with Zach and seeing how having siblings, being in the middle of 5 kids myself, we always played with Zach, and in a way we're doing improv type games all the time, and it was really helpful for him to grow. And then going into early education the way I did and seeing how many children with autism maybe didn't have that opportunity with all the siblings and the growth and the literally letting you apply what you're learning in therapies and speech therapy and behavioral therapy. My brother was able to do that with us, his siblings, and it was so beautiful that I almost wanted something like that for all children. And improv was the perfect seamless tool. I went to Second City and IO West in Los Angeles and studied improv as well as studied early childhood education. And I just saw such an amazing connection because Zip Zap Zop, we do improv. We didn't create improv, we didn't invent improv, but we are really taking improv and using a different intention with the games to reach these goals. And my brother still to this day loves these games and lights up, and I can talk with Zach longer when I incorporate games in our conversation.
Well, I absolutely love this. There's some things about Zip Zap Zop Enrichment that are a little bit different. Talk to us about your directives on inclusion and about price and how you guys do things a little bit differently.
Yeah, that's our mission because we're a nonprofit organization, so we aim to make affordable classes for all children of all abilities. And in that, we are all, I always say this in a specific way, I really like it, but basically, we provide training and people who are extra support in the classroom if need be, so parents don't have to bring in their own private aides or one-on-ones or whatever you want to call it, which is great. I was a behaviorist for years, and I also have been one-on-one in classrooms in my past, and very much needed in a lot of areas. But with this class, we want this to be the place where they can come, explore, and practice all of these social skills that they're learning in these therapies, but do it with their friends in an inclusive way. So I go into schools with big classroom settings, with children with autism, children without, and we do games and we all connect. I also go after school, same idea, very inclusive. And then on top of that, we do small groups where we're reaching IEP goals. So we're trying to be affordable because we are meeting the children versus making the children and the parents change to meet our class, if that makes sense.
It does, and I absolutely love that. I love this whole model of so often, and I know we're going to hear from people around the world that they're like, oh, we don't have these classes at all here, and we're going to talk about that in a second. But when here in Los Angeles, there are classes and there are good classes, and but they're expensive. Just going to be honest here, and a lot of times, if you have a kid that, well, I believe that as much as we can, we want to be inclusive, right? But sometimes you have a kid who's not going to be able to take an inclusive class unless, like you said, that they have a one-on-one aid. So now you got a parent who's paying a lot of money to go to a class, plus they have to pay or have it be part of their insurance funding for there to be the one-on-one aid there, which takes away from something else. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah,
and so
you're crazy.
it adds up. And so the idea that you've got inclusive classes to begin with, and that your people are appropriately trained to be not only instructors, but to know how to effectively deal with behavior and shape and mold it back into the exercise, that's a real win-win for parents and for the kids and for the instructors. So we love that. And keeping costs down is always a good thing.
Yeah.
But you mentioned, I'm sorry, what were you going to say? Go ahead.
I just forgot to add about the affordability with my mom. Growing up, she would always try to find camps for us over summer to all be together, because it's also really exhausting driving to like multiple camps for all your children. It's great if they can be in one. So my mom found one camp. She had to search and search and search, but she found one camp who was open to taking my brother on and was open to giving him that extra support. But it was a challenge for sure. So that was another reason why Zip Zap Zop was very important to me.
I absolutely love it. Now, talk to us a little bit about the Play Lab in Pasadena and what that is.
Yeah, oh my gosh, that class is so wonderful. So Play Lab in Pasadena is a very new center it's more typically known for 0 to 5, for babies and parents to come and have a play space and talk and be more for the early education. But then in the evening, that all closes and there's still children there, but kids go to bed and have dinner and all that stuff. So around 4:30 to 6, which is when our class is on Wednesdays, it's very low key. There's very minimal people there. So we have this beautiful big space, this room, where we have an improv class for children who are on the spectrum. And it's a very broad range. We're open. It's an inclusive class. It's called Inclusive Improv. At the current moment, all the children do have autism and all have different goals they're working on, and all have very unique reasons they want to be in improv and enjoy improv. And when I teach that class, it's magic. They are practicing and connecting. There's this goal of perspective, right, with children who have autism and looking at another person's point of view. And I am so excited about, for specifically this one girl is having a lot of epiphanies about perspective, more and more every week. And it's all because of this safe environment we have at this place called Play Lab, and I'm teaching it. We have another very amazing trained special education teacher who comes after she works all day, and it's just so safe and loving, but we're still pushing them, we're still like reaching these really incredible goals, but they don't have very minimal meltdowns, very minimal tension or stress, but they're still reaching these goals, and it's exciting.
It is exciting. A lot of people get into these pockets of therapy where sometimes parents go, well, we're doing speech and OT, and they feel like that's enough. Then there are the ABA parents who are like, well, we're doing ABA, which means we don't do other things. And we talked about this on the show the other day about how people get solidified into these groups. Well, I'm doing RDI, or I'm doing floor time, or I'm doing whatever, and they don't realize the breadth of what is available to them and how some things work in tandem with other things. So where do you see improv fitting into all of that?
That's when I get really excited, that subject, because improv isn't taking away from any therapy. We're not trying to tell people, oh, you shouldn't do ABA or you shouldn't do floor time. Instead, improv adds to those therapies. It is the tool to communicate. It is taking those therapies and applying it in naturalistic ways in a classroom, in a fun, naturalistic way. So I'm excited because I feel like improv could help bridge a lot of that intervention to application, taking all of those very important tools you learn in therapy, but actually putting them into action. Like, for example, in ABA, it's really common for eye contact to be a goal. And to get to that goal, a lot of the times it's just you and a therapist making eye contact. Not saying that shouldn't happen, but why not also take that skill, those goals, and put them in a classroom where there's so many fun improv games that are all about making eye contact in a very fun, natural way.
Absolutely. One of the things that we talk about here is that all of our kids have to generalize. That's the goal. They have to be able to take things that they learn and go out and apply them in new ways. And that I think that improv is one of the best tools to be able to do that. And the phrase that I always use with parents is you got to give your program legs. So you work on something at home, then you got to take it out to the store, and you got to take it out into life, out into the classroom. So improv is a great, safe way to be able to play. It's very reinforcing and for kids to work on all of those goals. So Maja, where can people go to get more information?
That is an awesome question too. We have our website that we're always updating with our community classes, which is www.zipzapzopenrichment.org. And we have just wanted to add, this summer we're putting on a really exciting inclusive camp in Culver City that is going to be very similar to the Play Lab situation, a very safe, loving environment. And I'm trying to think, are there ways you can reach us? We have a class at Second City that's on Saturday mornings that is very similar to the Play Lab one as well. And it's kind of fun for parents and families to go to Second City because there's a lot going on there other than our class that's kind of fun for the kids to enjoy. Like the really awesome improv show at Second City is a kid show every Saturday morning, for example. And yeah, I'm trying to think. There's so many things. You got me all excited with that generalization talk because that's like that's what it is. It is what it's all about. It's going into the world. It's being with each other, especially in this world we live in. It's like the more we can connect and love one another, the better.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, Zip Zap Zop Enrichment. For people in Los Angeles, sometimes this will be in their school. If they wanted to come to their school, I imagine they can reach out to you and talk to their school and say, hey, this is the kind of, schools are always doing enrichment programs in the afternoon. You can ask for them to bring Zip Zap Zop to your school. Now, are you looking at branching out and franchising and having Zip Zap Zop in other states and other cities?
Yeah, we have some exciting things in the works. Something you had mentioned about not everywhere has these classes, but because we have this curriculum built and we use improv games with the intention to reach these social goals, and I have all of our games written out. I have all the descriptions, but then I also have what it's working on, like eye contact or tone of voice or perspective or spatial awareness. So I would love to use that knowledge and spread the word, spread the love as much as possible. And I don't know if that's going to be starting classes in another state or another part of California, or if it's going to mean really working with therapists and creating these curriculum plans for schools, etc. We're on a fun path. My president of my board, Oscar Madrigal, who has 2 sons with autism and is a special ed teacher with a great nonprofit background, he's awesome, and him and I are constantly thinking of ways to get this out there, because that's what it's all about, is reaching kids and families. So we're going to see it. It's exciting. And about going into schools, we're always expanding the program more and more in Los Angeles. We're at a lot of charter schools, Larchmont Charter, New Heights Charter, Citizens of the World. We're also at preschools, early intervention preschools, and I have a lot of fun going into schools, also taking those small groups and working on goals with IEP goals and whatnot.
Love it. So I'm just gonna put it out there. If there's a parent out there who's like, you know what, I wish this was in my area, reach out to Maja. go to her website, reach out to her, and say, I want to bring this to my area and figure it out with her. So that's, so again, you want to go to Zip Zap Zop Enrichment. It's .org, but can they also get their .com? Because
Yeah.
that's what.
.com works too.
Okay, so .com works.
And they can also email zipzapzopenrichment@gmail.com.
All right, fabulous. Thank you so much for everything that you're doing and for taking the time to be with us.
This is awesome. Thank you so much. This is beautiful. We
All right.
speak the same language.